All right, recording has started. So, welcome everybody to our presentation on goal setting. My name is Justine Price O'Neill, and I truly appreciate you being here with me today on a Friday at 4 o'clock. Awesome. I love that commitment and dedication. Um, my name is Justine, and I have been with Wake Tech almost 10 years. I think next year is 10 years. And I work with the ILC as a writing and study skills tutor, doing topics like this, where we're talking about goal setting, and then also one-on-one specific tutoring for writing and study skills. Usually working on line like this virtually, but also sometimes I'm on North Campus. So um, yeah, that is me, and I'm excited to talk with you all today about this very important topic. And I love this topic for this time of year, for August, for a new school semester that is about to start. And I hope you guys are excited about it too and ready to set some goals. Maybe you already have some goals and you want to know about achieving those. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a fresh start, blank slate with the new semester. So it's a great time to be talking about these things and, why goals matter. And really, I think we know that people who are successful set goals, right? They set goals for themselves, they achieve those goals. That's how they become successful. And you probably are familiar with this and have experience with this, right? If you are, right now you are all enrolled in college here at Wake Tech. Maybe you had set a goal for yourself at one point to go to college, and now you're doing it. So there you go. So you can look at your past successes and think about, when did you have a goal in mind? How did you achieve that? And you can probably see that when you were serious about setting goals and putting in the work for it, that's when you were successful, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And basically, I hope that you can kind of take today as a little goal setting pep talk for you as you start this new semester, and giving you that confidence and motivation boost that you need to approach this new semester, and getting closer and closer to those dreams and goals that you have for yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our presentations and agenda for today. So just make sure we have the chat going. Yes, hello everybody. Thank you so much for being here, checking in on the chat. Um, let's look at our agenda. So these are the things we're going to talk about together. First, just what are goals, and then why make goals. And then we'll get to like the nitty gritty, how to set effective goals, of course, is key. And then creating an action plan for each of you personally, and then how to stay inspired with those goals once you leave here and go on. So really, for this to be most beneficial for you, is going to be for you to make this kind of customized to you and personalized for you. And, I think if you've got a paper and pen nearby, or if you can open a blank doc on your device, there's going to be different times throughout the presentation. I'm going to ask you to kind of do a little brainstorming or journaling or listing some ideas about you personally, just for your own self. But that's where you can kind of customize it to yourself. So maybe take a minute. If you like writing on paper, go ahead and grab that. Or if you want to just jot a note in your phone or pull it up on the device that you're on, get kind of ready to do a little bit of writing. Okay. So go ahead and get set up with that, and we will get going. But I appreciate you guys being all here, and also that I hope you've enjoyed the conference so far. If you have been here since 12 when we started, you might be getting a little tired, but hang with me. We've got one more presentation after this. I believe it's the collaboration and communication with Silas and Megan, and I saw Silas in here with us today, so I'm looking forward to that one later too. But let's get going talking about our goal setting for today. So first, what are goals? So it's a little word with kind of a big meaning. So to make sure we're all kind of on the same page when we're talking about this, just think about that word for a minute, and go ahead, if you want to unmute or if you want to put in the chat, tell me what comes to mind when you think of this word, goals or goal setting. What are we talking about here? What does that get you thinking about? Any words that come to mind, type them in the chat for me. Main objective, says Ethan. Yes. Kaylin, something you want to accomplish, for sure. Sports, yep, that's an area that we see a lot, right? Sports involve a lot of goal setting. Achievements, yeah, things you want to get done, exactly. Right. Future plans, yeah, I like that focus on future. We're thinking of goals. It's kind of like looking into the future. Where do we want to be, right? Awesome, good stuff. Feel free to keep on adding in there, getting our brains going here. But yeah, you guys are all on the right track. I think like that you can think of like your dreams, like what you want for your life, but goals are a little bit more than just kind of like a dream, but they're like dreams with a plan, right? So we're going to talk about goal setting, which is when you make a plan to reach your goals. But they should be things that are important to you specifically. They should be achievable, right? So you can get there, you can attain those goals. They should be clearly defined, so putting words to your goals, not just kind of vague thoughts, but we're going to talk about clearly defining your goals. And so what types of goals are there? Like I saw we've got sports in the chat. That's definitely an area where goal setting happens. Also, all of you have college in common. So academic goals can be things like GPA or completing your courses. But then there's also like personal development, like learning new skills, building relationships, other activities, whether those are, athletic or sports related goals, like in that realm, or learning to play an instrument or learning to crochet, things like that. Those personal development goals are also important. And then, of course, there's professional goals like your career and networking, things like that. And when we're talking about this too, you can kind of see that there's a difference between long-term goals, those big picture ideas of graduation, starting a career, where you want to be um, a year or more from now. But then equally important are those short-term goals, those smaller action items. They are the stepping stones, really, to those long-term goals. So the stuff you need to be doing now, like completing your coursework, managing your grades, maybe getting involved and doing some networking, all the stuff that you're doing day to day, those are your short-term goals that get you to the long-term ones. So thinking about all that together is kind of along those lines. But yeah, definitely we've got the tasks, yes, academic and career goals, career path, great stuff. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Okay, so now we kind of know what goals are. Let's take it a little bit further and let's look at this quote here. So I was preparing for this presentation. I just happened to be reading this book by Pearl Clegg, and it's called Things I Should Have Told My Daughter. And it's really a collection of her journals that span like 2 decades, from like the 70s and 80s. And it's interesting to read where she was then when she was 20s and 30s, I guess. And then she now is this award-winning playwright and best-selling author. And in her journals at that time, she kept repeating these questions to herself. And I thought it was interesting. The questions were, what do you want? She's talking to herself here in her journal. What do you want? How badly do you want it? How bold will you be to get it? And her goal was to write a book. At that point, she had not done it, and now she's written many. So, but she kept coming back to these questions and reminding herself of them. And it got me thinking about goal setting. And, I think a lot of us know what we want. Maybe sometimes we don't even start there, but sometimes we start there and we think, okay, what do I want? Like, okay, I want this kind of life, whatever. And then we stop there, right? We're like, yeah, I want that. But when you think about how badly you want it and how bold you'll be to get it, when you set that plan and you start doing those smaller action items to get you to that big future goal, that is true goal setting. So that's what I kind of want to talk about today, is the difference between kind of casually having an idea of what you want for your future versus making a plan to truly achieve that. So this one, basically, when we're talking about goal setting, we're talking about making your dreams bold, making that bold plan. And I was just thinking kind of about my past, and when I was younger, I loved sports and I especially loved basketball. And it was a goal of mine to play basketball in college. And I achieved that goal, but it was something that I had to want really badly and work really hard at and be bold about, putting in the time and the effort and the dedication to that to kind of achieve at that level. But then I achieved that. And then after I graduated, then I decided I wanted to go to grad school. And that was also a lot of work. It was something that I had to want badly to put in all the effort that I needed to do that. And then at that time, I was living in Michigan, which is where I'm from and where I grew up, and went to undergrad. And then I moved to NC State, or moved to Raleigh to go to NC State, because that's where I got into graduate school. So that was kind of a bold move, right? To kind of just pick up and come here. Clearly, I love North Carolina so much that I'm still here. But yeah, so it was kind of like another step. And then after that, I had a goal of working at Wake Tech. And when I first wanted to work at Wake Tech, I didn't have the experience yet. I was too young, too new out of school, didn't have the experience to qualify for the positions that I wanted at the college. So I went and I set a plan to get experience in different ways, and then came back. And then, as I've said, I've been with Wake Tech for about 9 years now. So I was just kind of thinking, and you can probably think about that from your past too. Like, what are things that you wanted them real badly, and then you put in the work, you handled it in a bold way to make sure that you achieved it. And when you think about those past successes, it can kind of motivate you, moving into your future. More recently, and they can be little things too. They don't have to be huge, big things like school and jobs and stuff. But like I said, just personal development. Like recently, I wanted to run a 5K this year, so I made a goal. I've done it before, but I hadn't done it in a long time. I wasn't in shape to do it. But you can see with the goal setting that you can't just say like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And, whether it's run a race or learn an instrument or learn a new skill and then just do it, you have to put in the effort, right? So for like, if anyone has ever trained for a race before, even a 5K is not a real big one, but it was big for me. And then I had to make myself a plan. I had to stick to every day, do some type of running, walking to build up to doing the whole run at one time on race day. And I did it. And then once you achieve it, you're proud of yourself. You move on to the next goal, right? I say maybe I'll do a 10K. We'll see. I don't know. Another way I kind of see this goal setting is with working with students on their writing, because students will come and they'll just be like, oh, like I need to get a good grade in my English class, but I'm just not a good writer. And the writing tutors, we always talk to students about, don't think that it's just happening overnight. Like it's not just writing a paper and turning it in and now you got a good grade in English. Writing is a process, right? And to be bold about your writing process, you have to participate in your brainstorming and free writing, move to your drafting, do some revisions, maybe come to the ILC and get some help, do more revisions, edit those fine details before you get to your final draft. So everything is a process. So anything that you want right now, just recognizing that it's a process to, take those stepping stones to get you to that ultimate goal is kind of your first step. So think about it right now. What do you want? You might already be thinking about this with these questions up here on the screen, but think about it to yourself. Common goals for college students can be about grades, of course, maybe getting more involved on campus and different organizations. You might have a goal of transferring after you graduate Wake Tech to go to a four-year university, or gaining experience through a job or internships while you're here. Or maybe it's self-care things like the mental and physical fitness, or budgeting money, or organizing your space, or learning a new skill, anything. And you can have lots of things. Got lots of goals are good too. So if you've got that pen and paper, or you've got a document open, go ahead and jot down, if you haven't yet, just for your own self, just to do a little bit of journaling there about things that you want for yourself, maybe this semester, next year, several years down the road. And even what ideas come to, how badly do you want it and how bold will you be? So take a minute, jot that down, and we'll move on. Yes, Silas, I agree. North Carolina does rock. And Allison, great. Learning how to communicate with others better. That's a great goal. Write it down. All right. So you can keep on journaling if you're journaling, but we will come back to it as well. Let's go on to our next idea here, which is why are goals important? So, do we really need to set goals? Can't we just like let life play out and see what happens? No, of course, no, not. We cannot do that, right? We know we have to set goals, but like why? So, what comes to your mind when you think this? Go ahead and drop it in the chat for me. Of the first thing that comes to your mind when you look at this question: why make goals? Why? What's really the point of this goal setting process? I know you all know that they matter because you signed up for this presentation, so you believe it. Um, but what's the benefit of goal setting? Make sure you follow through. Yes, exactly. And to motivate yourself. Perfect. Setting that goal and knowing what you're trying to achieve, of course, gives you something to push for. Anything else that comes to mind so we can hold ourselves to it, exactly, and to know what to work for. Yeah. You don't know what you're trying to achieve until you set that goal. And then you hold yourself accountable once you set it. Good job, guys. Anything else about why goals matter? They give you kind of what you guys are hitting on is they give you that direction, right? What you're working towards. They give you a sense of purpose. Like what are you getting up to do each day, right? It's very human of us to want to work and achieve, even when we think we're tired and we don't want to work, right? We feel better when we do, when we're putting effort into something. We have that purpose in life, and when you set goals, it boosts your motivation. Um, it makes you more focused and more committed. Um, Someone earlier in the earlier session said that setting goals is like a GPS for your life. I liked that. Need a goal to plan our steps. Exactly. Planning is a key part of it. Good point there. But yeah, it is a GPS or a roadmap. And especially as a college student, you set your goals when you start college or at least at the start of a semester, and you're giving yourself a roadmap of how you want your college journey to go. Um, and as we said earlier, that new semester is an ideal time to do it. You have a complete fresh start right now. You've got brand new classes, brand new instructors. You've got, you're participating in this conference today and gaining all these skills to go forward. So now is the time to think, what do I want out of this semester and beyond? So of course in school they're important, but also at work too. You might have experience with this. Goal setting is often required of employees in the professional world by their employers. So it's a good idea to get practice with it now too and how to be effective with it. But goals in the workplace, of course, help employees improve their own performance and contribute better to the success of the whole organization. So that's why it's often required because the organization does better when its employees are motivated and performing through setting those goals. But also athletes, as we talked about, someone had put in sports earlier in the chat. Of course, athletes and even entrepreneurs, anyone seeking to achieve at high levels, they all use goal setting. And I know that you all want to achieve at a high level. That's why you're here. So goal setting is what gets you there. And there's tons of research that really shows the benefits of this. I found an article published by Psychology Today that showed that setting goals improves your self-confidence, your motivation, and your autonomy. So all great stuff there. And also there's a study from the Journal of Applied Psychology from 2016, and it compared students, specifically college students who participated in an academic goal setting program, to those who did not. And it found that the students who set goals perform better academically and were more likely to graduate. So also good stuff you guys are trying to do. Another study from 2014 from the British Journal of Educational Psychology found that setting goals helped academic achievement even when students set goals outside of academic performance. So students were setting goals like, again, improving kind of like mental fitness or physical fitness, reducing stress, and those students were more likely to perform better academically. So again, setting goals in different areas of your life, anything that is improving for you, making you a better person in any realm of your life is also going to make you a better student. So think about that when we're talking today. Don't feel pressured that everything's got to be about what you're going to do here at Wake Tech. Think about your whole life and goals that you want to set in many areas. Okay. So Silas says, SMART goals. Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Silas. That is exactly where we're going. So yeah, if anyone has talked about goal setting before, you might have learned about SMART goals. And by the end of this presentation, you should all have at least one written. Yes, perfect. Okay, so moving right along then, now that we understand and on the same page what goals are, why they're important, let's start talking now about how to be effective with our goal setting on our way to SMART goals. But first, just some basics about effective goal setting. So number one, you got to write them down. So this psychologist Gail Matthews in 2015, she found that people who wrote out their goals were 42% more likely to achieve them than people who only thought about goals. So why is that? Well, think about it. If you write them down, that's why I told you, get ready to write today. Hopefully you have already started and we'll continue. But when you have to write it down instead of just thinking it, you really have to clearly define it in your own words. And you can refer back to them. It makes you more committed and focused and more motivated to achieve them. Yeah, and you see that too, Silas, exactly. So it really makes it more real than you just kind of think it in your head. So number one, write it down. Also, then once it's written, you want to prioritize your goals. So that means like ranking them, like it says here, to allocate your time and resources in the right way. So how do we go about that? Well, first you identify what your goals are, write them down, of course. Then create a list of your required tasks. I saw someone put that word tasks in the chat earlier, exactly, where you have to list the tasks that you need to do to accomplish those goals. And then once you have that list of all the stuff you got to do, put them in order. Assess the importance and urgency of each of them and what do you need to do first or second and so on. So take, for example, if you were on a job search, okay, you want a new job, you got to do a lot of stuff. You got to research positions, you got to update your resume, your cover letter, maybe practice your interviewing skills, go do some networking. I'm sure you have been through this before. The job search it involves a lot, right? And when you just think about it in your head like that and all that stuff you have to do, it feels so overwhelming and maybe a little intimidating, right? But if you actually write it down and organize all of your tasks in order, in the way you need to do them, and look at it and take them step by step, it makes it feel more achievable, right? And actually helps you become more successful in the long run too. So you write them down, you order them, prioritize them, and then you track your goals. So this is a super important part too. You need to make deadlines to track your progress, and there's a variety of ways that you can do this, but use some kind of calendar system, whether you got a written calendar, or you use your phone, or a digital calendar online, and have some check-in times when you're going to check in on your goal. And you can also journal about your progress. There's goal setting apps that you can use, or just simple to-do lists, again, either on paper or on a digital device. And if we take like the job search example again, maybe we're checking in on ourselves every week or at the end of the month and look and see, okay, how many applications did I submit? How many interviews did I schedule or have? How did I get my documents updated, or have I been practicing for interviews? Just kind of checking in, how am I doing on these tasks? Because that leads us to this key point of reevaluating. So don't be afraid to adjust and adapt. So maybe the job search is not going well, right? But then we got to ask ourselves some questions. Am I applying for the right jobs? Do I need to be getting in more applications each week, or do I need to gain more experience to qualify myself? Do I have contacts I can reach out to that can help me in the search? So reevaluate and then change what you're doing if necessary. And then that leads us to it being supported. So your goals are going to be more likely to be achieved if they can be supported by other people. So you want to seek help from those who are going to guide you and hold you accountable. But think about this, think about your good supportive network. Who are the friends, family members, mentors? Are you involved in clubs or study groups with your peers, or advisors and instructors who are going to, root for you and cheer you on and help you with this the process? So definitely using those resources. And, um, you know, when you think about that, if we think about, again, this job search example, you know, you can think about your resources that are available at Wake Tech too, because even if you feel like, oh, I don't have a lot of support in these other things, or maybe people just don't really understand what I'm trying to do, they do at Wake Tech. So, and you've got tons of free resources here. The ILC is one, um, and also, you know, specific to the career goal, job search. There's career services, anything that you're trying to achieve academically, professionally. There are people here at Wake Tech who want to help, are excited to help. It's our whole job, and we like it. So, you know, reaching out even just to your instructors, you know, using your resources and using your supports. Um, so that is the idea of making sure that your goals are effective by making sure you write them down, you prioritize them, track them, then reevaluate and make sure you're supported. All right. Any questions or comments at that part? Let's see, make sure to have them check in with you. That will help you. Yes, exactly. You can encourage people, be like, hey, like, I want you to hold me accountable. Because maybe people will think, like, oh, I don't want to bug them, you know, like, I'm going to let them be. It's like, no, like, tell people, like, you know, I'm trying to do this, like, stay on me. You know, if I'm getting lazy, call me out on it. Um, yeah, exactly. Good point. Okay, so let's go into what you knew was coming, the SMART goals. So, like I said, if you have, you know, learned about goal setting before, you've probably heard this acronym, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and then time related to your goals. So it's not enough even to just say, I want to blank. You need to make sure that you're being specific about what exactly it is that you want to achieve. You want to also make sure that you're able to measure your success, because that's how you're going to be able to monitor your progress. So that's that measurable. A is for achievable. You only want to make goals that are within reach. So you want it to be achievable. It can be like, you know, extending yourself. You know, it should be something that you're reaching for, but you don't want it to be impossible. You don't want to set yourself up for failure either. Make sure it's also relevant, that's your R, to your broader dream. So the stuff that you're doing, you're going to care about it too if it's related to the big picture stuff that you want to do in the farther away future. And then finally, set an end time. If you don't put a time on it, then you never really know. You know, if you're not achieving it, you don't know how close you are, because you're just like, oh, yeah, I'll do that one day. I'll do it one day. But if you say, no, I want to do that by the end of the year, now you're like, okay, we're getting closer to the end of the year, you've really set yourself up for when you want to achieve this goal. Okay, so, and I know this is a lot. It's much easier just be like, I want this kind of life. But when you make it specific and measurable and achievable, relevant, time based too, that might take you out of your comfort zone a little bit, thinking about all of this and getting that specific, but it's also going to increase your focus and commitment, which are super important. And that ultimately makes you more likely to achieve your goals. And there's just so much research, you know, about these SMART goals, and that this is how successful people reach that high level of achievement, is by following these pieces when they're setting their goals. So you want your SMART goals to be realistic and attainable, and the way you do that is set them within these parameters. All right, so let's dig a little deeper with this then. So let's start thinking about you. Going back to your journaling there, wherever you started writing down some notes. Answer these questions here. First, what do you want for your future? So we kind of already had that question, what you want. You might have gotten started on that. So you might have that idea. You might add to that idea. If you want to focus specifically academically, think, what degree are you trying to get here at Wake Tech? Or if you don't know exactly, what are you thinking? What's interesting to you? What's your end goal as far as school? What career do you want in the future? So those are those big picture, long-term goals. But then work backwards from those long-term goals to the short-term goals. So what do you need to be doing right now so that you can get to those big time ones? So think about that, and then see if you can end, at least if you want a sentence starter, that last part, I want to dot, 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 fill in the blank. And don't worry about making it smart yet. We're gonna get there to do that. But see if you can just do that brainstorming, do that journaling. That's where you're gonna start. All right. And again, this is just for you. So just jot it down, get your brains going. You can keep writing if you're writing or finish up your thought. And we're going to take these ideas now that you kind of have brainstormed maybe a little bit more specifically of what you want for the future. Um, we'll take it a little bit further. Okay, so you've got some of these ideas written and you've gone even further now, I think, by journaling than some people do. Some people just kind of think about what they want and they stop there, right? You've gone a little bit farther with the journaling, and now the way you're going to really put it into action is to make it a SMART goal. So you're taking that kind of vague understanding of what you want into a SMART action statement. So look at this kind of flow here. So these are kind of the questions that you want to ask yourself. So the first thing, what do you want to achieve? Let's focus it just on this semester right here. And then you want to make it specific, like what exactly do you want to do? How are you going to measure your progress, sorry. How is that goal achievable? How is it relevant to that bigger stuff you want to do eventually? And then at what time are you going to have it accomplished? So thinking about these questions, this is an example right underneath there. Let's say new college student is starting the semester and they're like, this semester, I want to get good grades. Probably everybody does, right? Everybody starts the semester and is like, I want to get good grades this semester. That person is not really on a good path with a specific goal, though. So it's easy to, not necessarily achieve that, because first of all, what actually is a good grade? How are we going to get there? There's no action plan. It's that vague understanding. So, but we can start there. That's where you want to start. That's what you have got with your journaling right now. You might have kind of some vague ideas, but then you specify it. So what exactly do I want to do? Okay, I want to get a 90 or better in English 112. Now I'm specific. I've got the number, I've got the class that I'm focusing on. How am I going to measure my progress? Well, every week I can monitor my grades and make sure I'm at that 90 or above. Is it achievable? Well, I think to myself, okay, last year I got an 85 and 111. And I did that by myself, but this time I'm going to go to the ILC and get help. 112 is a little harder, but I can get that support, and I believe that I can get an A. All right, that sounds like I can achieve that. So I'm setting myself up for success. But how is it relevant to my bigger dreams? Okay, say I want to transfer to a four-year university. That's my big goal, and I need a good GPA here at Wake Tech so that I can get into a four-year. Makes sense. So now I'm motivated. What time am I going to accomplish this? Okay, it's this semester. So by December, when semester ends, I'm going to have this goal accomplished. I write it right out into a sentence so I can see it in words. I will earn a 90% or better in English 112 by December 2023. So we take that vague idea of getting good grades and make it specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, put the time on it. Now I have a SMART goal. Okay, so just an example of the way that works. But that's kind of the main idea. So see if you can look at what you have journaled there about things that you want to achieve and to accomplish, and ask yourself these questions about specifying it if it's not specific yet. Think about how you could measure progress, how it's achievable, how it's relevant when you want to do it, and then see if you can write an I will statement like that. I will blank. What's your goal? By blank. What's the date? Doesn't have to be this semester. It can be sooner or later. But see if you can change some of that free writing that you've got and put it into a confident I will statement. And this isn't something that might happen necessarily real easily or real quickly. So if you feel like I'm gonna take a little bit more time on this, do it. Jot down some notes. If you got an I will statement, great. If you feel like you need to spend some more time on it, come back to it. Return to this after the presentation if you need to, for sure. But another thing that you want to think about as you're creating your SMART goal is like with this example about the 90% or better in 112, what barriers might this student face that prevents them from reaching this goal or gives them some hiccups along the way? Well, let's say that student gets a C on their first essay. or say they start getting busy with their other classes or work and don't have the time to put into the class. Or there's outside distractions and other things that are just getting them stuck. That's when it's hard. So what you want to do now too is think, and if you do have your goal, or even if you are still on your, you know, uh, general statements, working to make it more specific, think about, as I'm trying to achieve this, what might get in my way? You want to anticipate those barriers before they even happen so that you can brainstorm how to overcome them. So, for example, this student could think, if I face these barriers, I can, get help from the ILC. I can go to my instructor's office hours. I can reach out to my friends and family for support with my outside responsibilities, maybe, or restructure my work schedule so I can have study time. Brainstorm before it even happens. So then when it does happen, instead of just getting so discouraged, you're like, oh, I thought this might happen. I'm going to do this now. And that's that reevaluating. So take down some notes. You've got a goal, hopefully. Now also think, what barriers might I face? What supports could I turn to? Okay. So hopefully that is coming along good. Let me know if you have questions or comments in the chat. We'll pause for a minute as people kind of finish their brainstorming there. But hopefully this gives you that idea of setting that SMART goal. Okay, so now you've got your goal in mind. But of course, at some point, the semester starts to lag on, right? And life happens, things get in the way, we get discouraged. Uh, how do we boost motivation and stay inspired? Because that's a part of goal setting too. It's, you work on setting the goal, you work on achieving the goal, but every day is not easy, right? So here's some ideas for you. One, reflect on your past successes and your ultimate goals. So kind of like I was telling you earlier, think about times in your past when you did set out to achieve something and you did it. Um, showing yourself that you can do hard things, basically, and kind of keep that in mind as your motivation. And then think about your ultimate goals too. I tell students that a lot when they get stuck with a certain instructor, or that is tough for them, or a certain class that's just really not their favorite, or even just an assignment that is really presenting a challenge. And it's so easy to get bogged down on that one thing that really, in the grand scheme of things, is so small, right? And I tell them, remember, why are you here? It's not for this one class, right? It's for that big degree. It's for that career that you want. It's for that life that you want to live. It's for that work that you want to go out and do. So remembering that's why you're doing it, remembering that big ultimate goal that sometimes can feel so far away, but this little thing that you got to do now is getting you to that big one. So just kind of, being a little cheerleader for yourself, basically. Keep thinking about past and future to keep you motivated. Also, you can reward yourself to celebrate milestones. That's a good thing too. It doesn't have to all be hard work. Give yourself a reward when you earn it. Recognize that and celebrate yourself. Have other people celebrate you too. That's that thing of including your support system in a part of all of this. Journaling about your why can be good too. You've been practicing writing down some notes today. You can journal, you can talk about it too. If that's your thing, if you like verbally expressing and you've got someone you want to talk to, it's important to remember, why you're here. Again, what you're trying to achieve, maybe who you're trying to achieve it for. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's to make your family proud, maybe it's to provide for your family, or maybe it's to, have an eventual family that you want to provide for, make proud. What is it? Why are you doing this? Why are you in school? Why do you want this career? Why are you putting in all this work? Because it's hard, but there's a reason why you're doing it. And when you remind yourself of that, that can be that extra push that you need sometimes too. And then finally, visualizing success. So there's this article, it was published in Forbes magazine, and you can see it's called Neuroscience Explains Why You Need to Write Down Your Goals If You Actually Want to Achieve Them. So back to that, writing it down, of course, is important. But it also states that people who very vividly describe or picture their goals are more likely to successfully accomplish their goals than the people who don't. So you want to think to yourself, you know, not just writing them down, yes, is important, but you want to picture it in your mind. Imagine yourself living this life that you want. Imagine yourself in that cap and gown. Imagine yourself doing that work that you want to do. Imagine yourself living that life. You've got it in your mind. Picture it in your mind, and then you're more likely to get there. But basically, overall, you want to make sure that you're thinking about what will motivate you over the long haul. Another good idea is with visualizing your goals is, talking to other people about them and displaying them where you'll see them. Whether it's writing them down and putting them up on display where you see them in your workspace, and kind of remind yourself what you're reaching for. Okay, so all ideas there to kind of stay motivated. Another way when we're talking about visualization is vision boards. Anyone familiar with these? Tell me in the chat. Have you created a vision board before? Have you heard of vision boards? I have made them in the past, and I think they actually are effective. They're kind of like that that famous quote, "We are what we imagine ourselves to be." That idea of that visualization, just like we said, even research shows you that visualizing helps you achieve that. Here, you're actually putting it on paper. So they're basically like little collages of what you want your life to look like. So these are a couple examples that I found to kind of give you an idea of them. It could be, specific to this one on the left looks like, specific to the career this person's reaching for. Design engineer, it's got pictures of designs on there. It's got these words, imagine, make a difference, motivating stuff. And then the other one goes a little bit more. And these can just be pictures of basically success, what this looks like to you, what you want your life to look like. So it's got motivational words and quotes there. Looks like this person is a student, books, pretty things like flowers, healthy foods there, what kind of life you want to live. But the idea is that you put it in pictures and words, and you display it, and then you look at that every day, just without even thinking about it. You just put that in your space, and you're walking by that, you're looking at it, you're thinking about it, and it's you can do these physically by keeping up with stuff. But of course, I feel like so much is digital now, but you could even do it digitally. You could copy and paste pictures and words and create something, use it as your screensaver on your computer, anything like that. But that motivational stuff that, just kind of let it seep into you. But you can, also keep magazines, flyers, and things like that. When I would do it, I would just, not do it in all one sitting, but I would just kind of every time I saw something that I liked, I'd cut it out, I'd keep a stash of it, and then when I felt like it, I would all combine it into a little collage and just put it up in my room where I would see it every day. But just another motivational idea and a way to really visualize. Also, if you like lots of details, you can organize like this. This is just a PowerPoint template for goal setting, and they give you these different sections, the goal itself, the tasks that you need to do. This organize it by week, month, 6 months, a section for an inspirational quote here, answering what success looks like, and even a list of resources for support and a reflection section. So if you have a long-term goal like this one about transferring to another school after graduation, then you're going to have to list things out by what you want to do by week, by month, 6 months. You're going to need a lot of resources. And you can see again by having that big goal can feel overwhelming, but when you put it in a list like this, you prioritize, you write it out, and you can check off the things as you do them. You can monitor your progress, and you're more likely to achieve that goal. All right, so this is taking us to the end here. So let's kind of summarize it a little bit, and then we can share some goals if you want to, if you feel comfortable. But yeah, these are your main takeaways for today. One, that your goals can be long-term, those big picture things, or short-term, those smaller action items that you got to do now. Two, setting goals gives that sense of direction and purpose, so super important. And then effective goals, you want to make sure you're writing them down, prioritizing them, tracking your progress, seeking support, making sure your goals are SMART goals, and then finally visualizing success to stay motivated and stay inspired through the whole process. Okay, so you want to remember too that change takes time. So all this stuff is going to be, a work in progress. But committing daily to these new behaviors and habits and thoughts, it's all going to propel you into that direction of the life that you want. Okay, so just remember, you can do this. You absolutely can do this. You are well on your way by attending today, by putting in the work and put in the work, each day from here on out. So if you feel comfortable, go ahead and jot down in our chat here, SMART goals that you come up. And yes, Allison, I will put the link for the presentation slides here so that you have it and you can refer back to it. But yes, feel free to put your SMART goals in, hold yourself accountable by putting them right in our chat if you feel comfortable. Share them with somebody else outside of, school, even friends and family. Feel free to do that too. And yeah, I hope that you all go into your new semester here with this confidence and motivation, keeping those SMART goals in mind and reaching for that life that you want. All right. It reminds me too of the quote, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've always imagined, that Thoreau quote. That's another good one of visualizing that success. Visualize that life and then put in the work to go out there and do it. And use your resources. Remember, the ILC is here for you. If you haven't used us before, in addition to these group presentations, you can get one-on-one tutoring in subjects like writing and math and science and computers. So definitely reach out to us. We are here to support you all through the way. All right. Yes. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Silas. Good luck with your presentation. Everybody, if you have 1 hour left for your conference today, you can hop on to the collaboration and communication, I believe it is. Yep. And James has just put it in the chat for us. So you can click on that link and attend our last ending keynote for the day. All right. Thank you, everybody.